The announcement yesterday by the Biden administration that they would be putting pressure on the WTO and other governments potentially to change vaccine patents was not received well by some world governments. Also not super received well by the stock market, because Pfizer and Moderna had their shares plummet after the announcement, at least briefly. Like, you never know, like, yeah, this is going to happen. And there are always 100 times as many headlines when something causes stocks to plummet than when they gradually creep back up to where they were in a day or a week or a month or whatever. I don't know for sure that that's gonna happen. Please do not take any financial advice from me, but it is possible. That said, they've made a lot of money, so some were not overly concerned about this temporary drop, including Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who retweeted that chart that we showed you, saying, let's do insulin next. And I know that we're I think rightfully focused on the vaccine. So many lives are on the line. We've talked about that ad nauseum. But that said, the representative does bring up a great point, something that we occasionally return to, but so far under the Biden administration, we haven't really done anything to change the situation. That something as simple as insulin, this long established, long produced medicine, costs an insane amount here, not in most parts of the world. And I wanna show you a bit of video of congressional testimony involving Representative Ocasio-Cortez from some time ago, where she tried to drive this message home.
Ms. Skipper, you said that with your insurance, your insulin is $1,000 a month, is that correct?
Yes.
When insulin was first developed, the patent was sold. Do you understand? Do you know the story?
Yeah, for $1.
For $1, right?
Yeah.
That's how much the patent for all insulin was sold for. Mm-hmm. Do you know the reason why it's $1,000 with insurance for you?
No.
Neither do I.
I have no idea.
And frankly, I don't think corporations understand. Well, I don't think corporations will give us a reason why. There is no reason for a drug as simple as insulin, which costs $21 in Canada for a 10 milliliter bottle, to cost the equivalent of a mortgage payment or sometimes 2 mortgage payments. And with that, I yield. Thank you.
It's a great point. I mean, she rightfully corrected herself that they don't understand why it costs that much. Obviously, they understand it costs that much because they priced it that much, because they're allowed to price it that much, because that's the system we've set up. It clearly doesn't have to. It's not that Canada has some magical technology that makes it 20 times cheaper to produce. That's the system we have, Brett.
Right. Yes, it is. So let's go back to the beginning where you talk about the stock price for Moderna and whatnot. You're looking at Pfizer and yeah, those dipped at a time in the day. So that is a zoom in of a zoom in of a zoom in. That's talking about,
yes,
within hours. If you look at the overall behavior of that stock for the last year, what happened was Pfizer, for example, announced that they had a vaccine. When they announced it had a vaccine, it went from $36 to $44 or something like that. So it went way up.
Mm-hmm.
But it hasn't stayed that way up the whole time. The speculative nature of the stock market, it dipped back down to essentially a little higher than it was a year before that. So it's not like it was riding the same high the entire time since it announced this vaccine. And that goes to kind of prove the point you're saying, where it does rebound, and it will rebound, because especially in America, companies like Pfizer are doing the same thing with that vaccine that they are with insulin. Because the way that typically it works, maybe not with that vaccine specifically, the way it typically works is that health insurance companies are charged a giant amount, a certain amount by the drug companies that they can get away with. It's insulated from like the normal marketplace of capitalism, where I can say, here's money and you give me money for that thing. Someone else is negotiating those prices, and then they're socializing the costs. Yes, there is a mandate that we all essentially have, that your company or your state pay for your health insurance, but everyone's paying a little into that. So it's all this weird thing where, and then add to it, it's unlike any other good where you will pay anything to stay alive. So yes, there's some, at the margins, there's some kind of competition in there, but not really, because it's it's one of those goods that you will always pay everything you have not to die. That's different from whether you will buy lunch today from Taco Bell or McDonald's.
Yeah, specifically. Yeah, it's so filtered and so artificial and so manipulated that it deserves to be questioned. And so I'm glad that there are people that are talking about it. Obviously, we're focused on this one pandemic, this one issue, but let's look more broadly at the system as well. For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.